Welcome to the She Builds Show. I'm your host, Stefanie Olson, a licensed general contractor who builds new construction, renovates, and designs your vision. Today, more than ever, we need raw, authentic women who are willing to rise above society's norms, break those glass ceilings, and encourage each other to boldly build the life we were meant to live. So, honey, what are you building? Okay, welcome to the She Builds Show. We have a fantastic guest today, Julie Laughton. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. I'm so happy to be here.
Absolutely. Okay, so can you just introduce yourself a little bit and tell the audience what you do?
Okay, my name is Julie Laughton. I'm a designer turned general contractor. So I started my career in New York City working with architects as, an architectural draftsman. And I went to college for architecture, landscape architecture, and interior design, just so you know. So I did all three, but I landed with the focus on interior design and space planning and how humans live and work in their dwelling, the whole, how it comes together. So I have an architecture and interior design background, and then I became a licensed general contractor after moving to California.
Right, which is the hardest place to get your license.
Oh, yeah. I took the test and I was kind of freaked out because I went to college for 6 years, whatever. I'm good at books, but it freaked me out to take that test. And they told me I got the highest score ever, and I took it in the fastest time anyone has ever taken it.
Oh, my goodness.
I was like, yeah, I thought, okay, good. That's a relief.
How long ago was it that you took that test?
2006.
Oh, my gosh. That's awesome.
It was funny because all the stuff on there was not in the books. Is what I learned standing in the dirt in New York City.
Yeah, absolutely. I know a lot of it's very different than any other exam I've ever taken.
Thank you. Isn't it?
Yes,
it's weird.
Yeah,
yes,
it is weird.
Uh-huh.
It was hard. I thought it was hard.
I thought it was hard, but I recognized questions that I thought, oh, this is going to save me because it's I actually remember this stuff.
Right.
So,
absolutely.
Weird.
Okay, so how long have you been in business, and how did you start? Why did you want to become a general contractor? What led you to that?
Okay, so what it is I was in commercial before where it was very organized. Everybody had their role, and it was just a beautiful thing. New York City, top 5 developers, biggest contractors in the world. We had our place. They had their place. It was beautiful, organized. Rules followed. Then I moved to California and decided to switch to residential because I like to draw. So I was designing and selling and having custom kitchens built by some craftsman dude from Germany who didn't speak English. So I was in knee deep with all these wonderful craftsmen doing my thing, drawing, designing, and getting kitchens built. And that led me to be in about 1,000 homes, it seemed like, over the first couple of years. I mean, it was just endless supply of clients. And I was in there as their designer with residential, mostly remodeling, and I witnessed horror stories of the contractor and the architect and people dropping the ball and not helping the client, working against the client, and then, charging money in advance for things and jobs not permitted. I saw about everything you could imagine that I call a nightmare scenario. So after about 10 years, it took me about 10 years to say, oh my God, I just need to be the contractor because I want to solve these problems for my client, and I want to sleep at night, not have to worry who's going to, rip off the client next, because I'm used to things actually working professionally in order and everybody does their job. That's how I saw it commercially. But in residential, it was a free for all. So I became the contractor, and overnight my life changed and my clients' worlds changed, and I could relax and things were done right and legally and on time, and nobody got screwed with the money anymore because I just took it over. So it was kind of neat because I became 10 times more responsible, but I liked that. But I was in charge and I saved the client. It was all about saving the client because they're lost. The clients are lost. They shouldn't be put in charge of managing people, especially unmanageable people.
That's incredible. And I think that is kind of my story as well. I got to the point where I was just frustrated.
Yeah.
I just can't deal. I can do this and I have enough experience to do it and I know what I'm doing. And it's not, you have to be a detailed person to be able to manage this many people and that many things going on. I think a lot of people don't recognize the fact that you can actually create so much positive change in your life from being angry.
Yeah, well, there you go. I kind of joked about that this morning because I only get angry when things don't go right. I don't get angry for no reason at all. I want to see things right. I want to help people. And you can't help people if you have someone you can't control. That was what was happening. But yeah, it's amazing what that drive does. It's amazing. And it's all about making it better, and actually helping people.
What's one of the projects that maybe you just never thought you would do? Like, what has anything like blown your mind? And because you've been in this industry for way longer than I have, and you're down in LA, and you see some pretty incredible things. I'm sure that me up here in little old Chico doesn't get to see or experience.
Well,
what would be something like that?
Well, I like challenging projects. So all my remodels are challenging because it's usually things other contractors pass on because they just want to rip the house down and rebuild it. So I did a couple houses on the peninsula where I saved the second story above the garage and did the whole new house new on the first story. So I stilted up temp walls and then put the foundation back and the footings back and the slab back, in order, and then set the house back down on it. So that was kind of fun,
oh
things
like gosh.
that. Yeah. And the neighbors freaked out because the walls were gone downstairs and the garage, the second story cottage was just being held up by 10 temporary walls. So they all freaked out, but it was kind of fun because then you just hook it back to the footings and then you pour the slab. So it was quite simple, but those were fun. And then I had another one I designed for this guy that had a little bit of too much money, and he wanted a pickleball court on the bottom of the house, which is the first story on the water. So he wanted a sunken pickleball court and then a 42-foot stainless swimming pool on the roof. So getting this designed, it turned out that I came up with a waterproof foundation 20 feet deep with 238 chemically grouted caissons overlapping each other at 36 inches wide, overlapping, so that we could dig out the pickleball court and not have the ocean water at 7 feet below flooding, or the Santa Ana River 12 feet below flooding our job site and causing a collapse of the two homes on the left and right side. So,
oh my gosh, that's intense.
The city of Newport, it was. And the scary part is it could have happened. So the thing is, the city of Newport kind of patted me on the back because I was the first person to come up with a waterproof foundation, because all the other guys just pour regular concrete and have to pump the ocean every time the tide rises. What a waste of time. So I came up with the chemically grouted one, and it's soft enough to excavate the first week, and then you don't have any water issues and no flooding, and it makes the city happy because you don't flood the alley.
Right. Oh my gosh, that's incredible.
It's a $1.2 million foundation. Most people wouldn't pay for that, but it's Newport. It's Newport, and it's on the water, and it was a playhouse for the client. And the working with the engineers was my favorite part because the details, it took us like 6 months to work out everything in advance. The pre-construction was over the top.
Wow.
Over the top. And the
that
reports
is incredible.
I enjoyed that. It was like, I felt that's where I feel good, is the architecture and the engineering, because solving problems, because, picking the paint colors and putting the cabinets is quite simple.
Right. Yeah. Something a little bit more critically challenging, I'm sure. That's incredible. Yeah. That's way over my head. My goodness. We don't have the ocean to deal with.
Yeah, I'm an expert at working in the sand, because the minute you dig down 3 feet, you're hitting water, and pouring foundations in the sand is totally different than the dirt. And we're experts at it, because I've done like 40 homes on the peninsula, and 12 of them are within 3 blocks of each other. So all my clients know each other. So it's kind of funny.
Right. I feel like that happens. I was telling my husband that this morning. He goes, I have to. He goes, what are you doing today? And I'm like, I have to go to a client's house down the road. And I go, I made it like a joke. I'm like, my requirement is every job that I do has to be within a mile of where I live. Everybody just tells everybody when you do a good job.
Well, that's just it. Yeah. And that's what you want, because I noticed that over the years. I realized I have 2 areas, Laguna and the Balboa Peninsula. I don't even, venture. I mean, it's funny. Yeah, I'm centralized, definitely, in a couple spots.
So what does your crew look like, and your just kind of like your business structure? I'm just curious. It sounds I'm guessing that you maybe do, longer, bigger projects and fewer of them. Is that?
Yes.
Yeah. So what does your, like your business structure look like, just for somebody of your scale?
Okay. So what it is I'm a designer, and I do the architecture, because I don't have to have an architecture license. I chose not to do that because it complicates things, and I don't need it. So I do the architecture, the design, and manage 5 engineers to get a house built under the one corporation, which is Julie Laughton Design Build. And then I have the second corporation, which is Julie Laughton General Contractor, JLGC. So back to back, those two companies work side by side. And I usually have 7 jobs on the table and 7 jobs in the field. It's always like that magic number. So what it is my structure is I try to take on projects that are not less than $500,000 because it takes just as much time to boil a half a pound of pasta as it does 2 pounds of pasta. You know what I mean? So I can't afford to work on the 500 or less because I can't make it financially. Right. And it burns up our time. So I try to do 500 to $1 million in the remodels as a minimum. And then the new homes are 1, 2, 3, and 4 or 5 million. When I was talking about the pickleball court, that was 6 million. So the point is there's a range from 1 to 5, but there's a whole lot more of the 500 to 1 million than there are of the, 2 to 4. 5.
Yeah.
There's 2 of the big ones right now and 7 of the little ones. How's that?
Perfect. How many people in the construction business? So you have 5 engineers in the design build, and then how many people do you have on staff with the construction side?
So what it is I have 2 girls. One of them does all the billing for both corporations, and she's like my personal assistant, but executive assistant. So she's right next to me. Then I have another girl that just does the design QuickBooks, and then I have another girl that just does the JLGC QuickBooks. So I got 2 counting money on each company. Then I got the girl right next to me. Then I got 2 guys in the field that one runs errands and just covers me all the little stuff I used to do. And then I got another guy that helps me with project management by just simply typing those schedules because I don't have time to sit at the computer and enter the data anymore.
Right.
And then I got 2 guys. One of them's Richard. He's dirt to drywall management. And the other one's Eloy, drywall to set and finish management. So they help me talk to the subs, but I still run the subs because I'm the designer. So the thing is with me, it's a little different because I drew the plans. So I have to be there to answer the questions because they're my plans. And then I have 3 draftsmen that take the plans to the city and pull the permit for me. So I got those on both companies too, because I used to draw the plans myself, submit them to the city myself, and then pull the permit. All those hours I gave up during COVID finally because we couldn't get to the city. And I thought, oh my God, this is a miracle. We can do this all via email now. So then I stopped going to the city, and all my girls at the city miss me because, we like to gossip about my hairstyle or whatever's going on. I mean, we just gossip.
Yeah.
But I stopped going to the city because it was too much time. So but with the 3 draftsmen, and I have 19 employees. So you got the 6 people right around me, 3 draftsmen, and then I have my workers. So my company handles everything from demo to carpet framing, concrete, finished carpentry, painting, and drywall, so we can move from job to job to job. But then, of course, I have to have a drywaller and a painting company for the bigger jobs, so we can actually manage the remodels with my employees.
With your internal crew. Yeah.
And then the new construction, of course, I bring in a concrete company because we can do all the footings and everything we want in-house. We got the concrete guys. We're good. But when we go to do bigger jobs, I bring in a concrete sub and all that good stuff. And then all the rest are subs. So waterproof for the cabinet guy, the electrician, the plumber, the HVAC, the roofer, the sheet metal, they're all subs, of course, always.
Right.
And then we have safety meetings every month, and we do all these extra training. So we have good insurance and good safety meeting and OSHA stuff, and the OSHA 300 reports every week. So we're on it because as a female, I'm totally, I want to be the best.
Right.
And I want to follow all the rules. And
I know, I'm the same way.
Right. And I think it's the woman thing. Why skip it? Because you're going to get bit in the, bit in the ass later if you don't. That's just how life works.
Absolutely.
So,
I know my crew, we're doing this just like small bathroom right now. And all we're doing is changing out the tile. And one of my team members was like, oh, well, we don't need to get a permit. And I was like, yes, we do. Like, even if it's one inspection for, your shower pan inspection and we don't need to, I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Like, I don't ever want anything to ever come back to me saying I didn't do the right thing.
Me too. Because the minute that thing leaks, because maybe they drop a hammer on it and then you're going to
it's on me.
Yes, it is. And that's what people don't understand. Because I swear, in this business, I've been in it 35 years, I swear there is 10% good ones and 90% bad. And that's why the CLB, can arrest people. I swear, because you see so many people cutting corners. I don't understand why.
Right.
So I've made an effort, just so you know, maybe because I'm a woman, to reach out to the good contractors and drop the walls. Let's talk. What are you guys doing? What are we doing? I'll refer you to jobs I don't want. You can refer me. But it's really about communicating with the good guys so we can stay strong, because there's a lot of bad ones,
Yeah, absolutely.
And I hate that.
With the amount of time you've been in the industry, did you know that you wanted to be in construction? And did you face, do you have any, insight of the difference between, maybe when you started and then now as just a woman in the industry? Have you seen things change? What's kind of been your biggest struggle there? Or, to me, people always ask me that and I'm like, I don't really care. I'm just doing what I'm doing and I'm trying to make a difference. But, and if people have a problem with me, then they haven't spent enough time with me to learn that, I do know what I'm talking about. And if I don't, I won't pretend. But I think I'd love to hear from your perspective, kind of what your experience has been.
Well, I am like you, and I have a cousin. Her name is Haley Deegan. She's a race car driver because her dad's metal militia motorcycle, but she was the first NASCAR driver. And there's another one too. But she said, it's not because I'm a woman, it's because I'm a good driver. Okay. And I did the homework and I practice. Okay. So that's my philosophy. It's not man or woman. It's doing the job right. Because when you get on a construction site, it's like a prison yard. You even know what you're talking about or you don't. And they're going to push you down and disrespect you. And if you disrespect them, you're going to get it. So the point is, there's a mentality which maybe you and I are similar, because I don't have a problem with men. I enjoy working with men and I understand them. So I noticed a lot of women, as far as the experiences, they have a thing with men and they act different around men, and it's hard for them to communicate. But I took the role as boss easily. Maybe it's because I grew up with a lot of men and I had a strong father, but I didn't have a problem because I was doing the construction all these years, even as owner builder before I was licensed, naturally, because I took charge. So what I can see is the women don't want to do the work. They don't understand about being in charge of men. It scares them. They want to be us, but they don't know how, or maybe it's just not in their DNA. It's not comfortable. They just prefer to be the designer. Because when you're the designer, you're only 1/10 of the project, basically. There's so much else going on. So that always bothered me, because I want answers how it's built. And, I wanted all the answers, because I can't just show up in the middle. I need to know how it's built and what's the schedule. You know what I mean? Absolutely. So I always wanted the big picture. So I kind of naturally fell into it. I noticed that women, there's so many more women, because I always encourage women to go into project management, because if you don't want to actually swing a hammer, that's one choice, or sling drywall or do electrical, that's great. But if you really want to get into the business and have a longer career, project management. And I see a lot more of that, thank God, as women. And engineering too, and architecture, there's more.
Absolutely. So, just on the personal side, do you have any children?
No, what happened is I never got married and thought about it, because I had this weird thing where I was, kind of engaged when I was 18 and he died. So my mom's like, I know it's weird. My path, it was weird. So my mom's like, just don't think about marriage. It's not that important, and go to college, get your career and move on. And so I kind of had that in the back of my mind, and I never thought about marriage. And then I got happily married when I was 50. How's that? So so it was late, and it was probably good, because I go 1,000 miles an hour, and I don't think anybody else could have kept up to me. So,
Sounds like it. That's awesome. What do you absolutely love about your job?
I love helping people and solving problems. And the fact that I have the knowledge and can stand there in front of a client, answer them on the spot, and they can just save thousands of hours and a huge headache. I just like that. It's like a 5-star instant gratification service I provide to the client. And I seriously take the stress out of it. I mean, I could meet with someone 3 times and build their whole house. I've got it down so pat. I got it down. So I like to save people time and headache and just do it efficiently and organize and just take the stress off of them. I mean, I just like giving them that confidence that it's getting done right.
Absolutely. I think that you probably had to work to that point where people just trust you. But I think that once you do get that and you have somebody else that's like, just let her do her thing, that's my favorite line.
Yes, exactly. I have a new client now. He's a little nervous, but he's a high level executive. And he looked at me the other day. He goes, I can't see this, but I trust you. I said, good job, because, don't worry. I go, you told me everything about what you need on the first meeting, and I got this. He goes, okay, good.
Right. Absolutely. Where do you see yourself going in the next, 5 years? Do you want to do this forever? Like, what's your plan?
Yes. Okay, so here's the deal. I turned 60 last year, and I told myself I'm going to take this business and explode it. So I want to work 20 years, and in the next 10 years, I want to reach, 100 million in sales. I'm serious. And in 2015, I went from 1 million to 5 million in 2015, and now I'm at 10 million. So I want to reach 25 million soon, and if not 100. I have this goal to prove a point that I can do it efficiently, but as a designer and a builder, the combo platter, I kind of want to prove a point that a one-stop shop's better as an option, and then see what I can get accomplished. But I'm going for it. How's that?
That's incredible. Oh my gosh. You have to listen to, have you ever heard of Brooke Castillo?
No.
Okay. She has a podcast. It's called The Life Coach School. And her goal also is 100 million by 2030.
There you go.
Right. And she has a jet, and her jet says, let's effing go.
So that's what I decided, because when I turned 60, I'm like, damn. So let's do this, because we have the assets, like you and me, we have the assets, and we can choose our destiny, and we have the talent. So why not? And I think helping people is one of my biggest things. And, my solution as a one-stop shop is different. No one else offers it. They offer design build, but you're still dealing with 5 people. So
that is so incredible. What advice, I'm almost 40, and I just kind of am in the first couple of years of this, and I have dreams of going to where, you're headed, but also having, I have 3 kids, and I've been married for 12 years, and it is a stressful job. It's not like an easy peasy thing that you do. It's like you're constantly thinking about what you forgot to think about. And
yep.
Do you have anything that, just from your wisdom, your experience of advice, you could just offer me along that path that you've learned? What do you think's worked well for you?
Well, what's worked well for me is advertising what makes me different and unique compared to other people. And then solving problems by, if you're working with architects and designers, making sure their plans work before you bid them, and investing more time into pre-construction, but also networking with people that are going to excel you and work with you, communicate with the people that are going to take you to the next level. So if I build these big custom homes, I got to be choosing the architects so they stop working with the old boys club and maybe hire me instead to do the construction. You know what I mean? Because everybody's got their contractor, but you got to link up with the people that are building the bigger projects, and follow the plan. The plans is where it all starts, but really advertising and marketing what makes you unique. Your clients are your best voice, but I do a lot of marketing on top of it, but your clients are your best voice, but just really target the market you want to go into, higher end residential, and then you get to target architects, who's pulling in the business.
Right. So, absolutely. Have you had a business coach or anything like that along the way?
Oh, yeah. I'm into self-help and therapy books.
Right. I think anybody that is at, your level, or anybody that wants goals like that, you have to evolve as a person.
Yeah. So here's what I did, because I have 24 employees at one time, and then I had 20, and then I kind of run the ship like an army, like a general. I'm very precise and, clean and straightforward and very clear. And I expect people to follow with clear instruction. So what I did is last year, maybe it was a year and a half ago, I got a life coach called Powerhouse, this woman from, I think, Chicago. And first thing we did is analyze what my personality is. Who is me? So find out your personality and take that test, and I'll send it to you. You can take it. It's 3 pages long, and it tells you which personality. I'm an ENTJ. I'm 5%. I'm like a general in the Army, for real. There's only 5 of us like that. So I'm a real driver, and I meet my goals. So I found out what my personality test was, and then I found out what everybody else's was. And then we learned to work together, because you got to work with their personality. Because my secret was, I always knew the other people's personalities, because I'm good at reading people and understanding people. So I always work with my people's and personalities, but I never analyzed mine. I just knew I was an A-type personality and super talented.
I just knew I was psycho. Yes.
Like crazy as my sister,
Yes, I know.
Tasmanian devil.
There's not many people like you and me. Do you know Joan Barton down there in
No,
LA?
I have to look these people up because I forgot.
Oh my gosh. So she owns Dirty Girl Construction and she's down in LA.
Oh.
She is been in the industry just as long as you have. And she's incredible. Nice. I think you guys should meet.
I need to know her. Reach out to her for me. Oh my God.
Yeah. Joan Barton. She's incredible. She does exactly what you do. She's a general contractor. She's down at, her company's Dirty Girl Construction. And she's just like you. When I met her, I was like, when you meet people like you that are those driver types, you're like, oh my gosh, like you're somebody.
Yeah, no, I didn't.
You just rarely meet people like that.
I didn't even know I had an A-type personality till I was like, later in life. I didn't know I was a salesman until I was 30, and I didn't know I was an A-type personality till I was like 40. And then I started taking those tests, and they bang, bang, bang. But then you just have to ask my sister. She calls me a bulldozer. So whatever.
That's awesome. So powerhouse, she helped you with your personality test. Yes. And then where did she take you from there to try to help you run? Because I think probably the hardest part for people like me and possibly you is we expect so much of ourselves that it's so hard to manage people because they're never at our level. And I feel
and then you get angry. So
upset the time.
So then I had all the employees take a questionnaire of how they thought my management style was. And then we analyzed that. And then we toned me down a couple notches. and then I got a girl next to me that can handle me saying every 5 minutes. And then other than that, but then the rest, I got to tone it down and you just be normal. And then we do quarterly reviews and keep everybody in check. So they are doing their job. But the pile driver, I can't do it to everybody. So but what it is we just came up with a softer approach of management style I just keep myself very clear by putting everything in writing in an email and then give people time to catch up and follow up. But it's really about analyzing yourself and then your employees and then getting their feedback so that you can tweak a little bit, because it's nothing better than everybody just wants clear instruction and
how to be successful.
And then you do bonuses and compensation. Because when I hired about 3 new people this last year, I'm in the process of training these people to catch up to my level. Never going to happen, but I am going to train them so that they're a better project manager than any other project manager, but they're never going to know as much as I know because I'm 60.
Yeah. So been doing it a long time. I know.
Yeah.
I love it. And I so appreciate you taking the time in the midst of your little hairdo situation.
Yeah. The gray. Can't have that.
Yeah. No gray. We decided no gray forever. Okay. Are you a reader? Do you like to read?
I'm a reader, but I don't have time lately. I love reading, but I don't have time, so I just kind of skim things and glance at things. But I am a reader. Yes.
Is there any book that you've read or a podcast or anything that you listened to recently that you felt worth sharing?
It's so funny because been working so much on building the company and training people. So I've been focusing on outlining exactly what each person does and how we can improve it based on their personality. And if we need anybody else, so we've been basically fine tuning each individual person. And I've been taking the time to write out everything again, what I do all day long, what everybody else does, so we can really fine tune it. So I'm in the middle of that right now.
Just documenting processes and organizational charts and just really cleaning up the kind of the foundation of the business, which I think when you grow so fast, it gets out of control and you're like, why aren't you doing your job? And they're like, because I don't know what my job is.
Yes. And that's where we're at right now, because I'm trying to smooth it out because I like to run real fast and everybody has a checklist to complete. So as long as they do the checklist, and I got that all done now. So we're kind of fine tuning that. But I always listen to motivational people and anything uplifting, just so you know. But I'm into organization like crazy. So I have to have organization. But I mean, not that I, listen to Tony Robbins or something, but, I like if I did come across something motivational, that's what I like people to listen to, because there's always hope, because it's about learning and improving. We're doing it every day, all day long. It's always, always room for improvement.
Absolutely. Is there
never enough kindness, because life is hard.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. I was listening to a podcast this morning, Justin Donnell, and he's teaches lifestyle investments. And he was interviewing this man. His last name was Christensen. I can't remember his first name right now, but he was talking about creating your core family values. And I was writing them down, and he does rites of passage with his children at certain ages and does these extensive, it was really cool. And I just started writing down, what do I want to teach my children most? And number one was just be kind. I just want them to be kind.
There you go. I think I learned that too, because it makes me cry when I see people being abused or mistreated, young people or elderly. I always had a problem with that. I know my parents were good parents because I have these values, and it's amazing. Yes, it's valuable. And that's really compassion and empathy, because you never know what the other person's going through. And don't do drugs. And don't do drugs.
Yeah, don't do drugs. I always tell my kids, hugs, not drugs. They're like, oh gosh, Mom. Okay, well, I would love if we could continue our friendship.
We need to get together. We need to get together and have a phone call, because I didn't even realize, and you kind of came out of nowhere. So let's actually get a phone call going. Let's do some networking, and let's set up a meet and greet.
I would love that more than anything. Thank you so much, Julie. You're incredible. And you are, I hope that more people just get to know who you are, because I think you're just, kind of setting the stage for so many women in the industry and what they can achieve.
Well, that's my goal, because I wrote a book and it's being shopped about my story. And my really mission is to leave a legacy and be a trailblazer for other women. And don't be afraid to step your toe into construction, because you're in it halfway as an architect, as a designer. Just take that next step. It's only one little baby step, and then you're there. I mean, why stand next to it when you can step into it?
And what's the name of your book?
Well,
you're in the middle of it, or
I changed the name now to badass memoir, or whatever. But it was about how to avoid a nightmare remodel, and then it turned into a memoir. So we changed the title last year after COVID.
So it's out and it's published?
No, it's not. It's being shopped to the publishers because there was some resistance about an all-female in charge.
What?
They don't understand it. They don't get it. I don't fit in any boxes as the female contractor.
And I don't want to be in a box, and I'm sure you don't either.
No, I know there's not enough of us, so they don't get it. And so we just changed it to a memoir of my life as it came into being a contractor. So it's being shopped, and
when it's ready, I want to purchase many copies. So you have to send it to me.
Yes, and it's all about inspiring women, because life's tough. I've been through a lot. It wasn't easy, but it's fun.
Right. And you learned, and you want to share. And I love that you're not just keeping that information to yourself.
Oh no, I'm sharing. I went through a lot of crap personally and professionally, and all the crap women go through, It makes me laugh at the end, because I have a lot of, pride in surviving. I'm a survivor.
Absolutely. That's just incredible, Julie. Thank you so much for being with us, and we'll make all of this go live for you, and I'll share it with you. And I just appreciate you. And I know if I need any help or have questions,
call me anytime. Call me anytime, and we can swap stories, because when I need to vent my workers, I can't do it to them anymore. They don't get it.
Against the rules. Somebody told me that too. Quit complaining to one employee about another. I'm like, oh,
I know. You have to watch it, because then they hang up and they say, "Are you talking about me that way too?" Because you got to watch it. Because I have to vent sometimes, but when you're training 2 or 3 people at one time, you just get frustrated. It's my A-type personality, but we can vent to each other, and that would be healthier.
Absolutely. You can call me and say the F word as many times as you want. Okay.
Thank you. That's how I stay. That's how I stay looking so young and don't have gray. Just kidding. My hair dyed.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Julie. Have an amazing day.
Thank you. I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for joining me today on the She Build Show. My name is Stefanie Olson. My hope is that this episode leaves you feeling empowered and ready to boldly take that step into building the life that you envision, 1 2x4 at a time. And if you can do me a quick favor, please leave me a 5-star review on iTunes. I get giddy over reading the reviews each week, and I will choose one special person to win some She Build swag. Make sure you add your name to the review, and I'll reach out if you're the winner. Thanks again for hanging out. Be sure to visit me at theshebuildshow.com, where you can ask me questions and share with me what you're building.